Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to yet another episode of The Draw Step. And today we're doing something very different. Normally on the channel, we are building super toxic or aggressive commander decks, but today we're moving in a different direction. We are instead doing a super toxic Oathbreaker deck. Don't worry, we're still toxic. We're just in a different format today. I recently got into Oathbreaker a couple weeks ago. Me and my friends started playing it, and this was the very first Oathbreaker deck that I have made. So, if you haven't played Oathbreaker before, make sure you check out the link up here where I kind of go over the rules and what the format is like. But let's see what in my opinion, is one of the fastest paced and toxic Oathbreaker decks you can play. So, the commander or the Planeswalker for this deck is Dack Fayden, only 3 mana, generic blue, red, and he starts with 3 loyalty counters. He has +1. Target player draws 2 cards, then discards 2 cards, which is a nice effect for this deck to help you roll through your deck and find you the pieces that you need to keep things moving. -2, gain control of target artifact, and -6, you get an emblem with whenever you cast a spell that targets 1 or more permanents, gain control of those permanents. So, I can't lie, this deck was somewhat inspired by one of my friends who built a control type deck, and I was like, okay, you know what? Well, we are in a different format, but I'm going to build my very own control deck, and this is what I came up with. So that 6 loyalty counters to get an emblem, which basically says if you sneeze in the direction of an opponent's permanent, suddenly that permanent is now yours. That is very easy to get those 3 loyalty counters on there, take the 6 off, boom, you have that emblem for the rest of the game, you're golden. The signature spell that we're working with is Shock. For 1 mana, it deals 2 damage to any target. Now, technically, you could do like a lightning bolt that is more damage. However, the reason why I use Shock is because I don't want to necessarily be destroying things. The thought here is that the Shock comes into play once you have that emblem. So say an opponent has an Eldrazi on the board. You hit them with the Shock, 1 mana, and now suddenly that Eldrazi is yours, and it obviously can withstand that 2 damage. So there is a lot of different ways you can swing this, and we have other cards in our deck that do a similar effect, but this Shock is a very strong signature spell to work with our commander as soon as we have that emblem. So let's get into the deck itself. Starting out, I did go pretty heavy with lands. I have 25 total lands in the deck. Most of them are just basic lands. I'm sure you could find some strong non-basic lands in Izzet, but I went mostly basics. And then the 2 non-basics that I have is Mistrice Village. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it, but it enters tapped and lets you control a mountain or a forest. A lot of times we'll have a mountain, so it'll enter on tap, which is nice. Taps are blue. And then you can pay 1 blue and tap it, and the next spell you cast this turn can't be countered. So that can be some really nice protection if you're setting up for a big play. And then our other non-basic land we have is Seagate Reborn, which you can pay 3 life and it'll enter the battlefield untapped. Otherwise, you can play Seagate Restoration, which allows you to draw cards equal to the number of cards in your hand, +1. You have no maximum hand size for the rest of the game. So that can be a nice effect in a pinch. Gives you some flexibility there. And moving on from here, we get into the ramp part of this deck. Unfortunately, there is no Soul Ring. Soul Ring is banned in this format. It breaks my heart. It is truly one of the biggest shames when it comes to Oathbreaker. I have a Soul Ring in every deck. Don't have a Soul Ring in this deck. What I do have, though, is a Sunset Strike Master. Nice little mana dork for you. Taps for red. not ramp, but similar. Jace's Sanctum. That does make instant and sorcery spells one less to cast. And when you cast an instant or sorcery, you get to scry one, kind of see what you have coming up. Deranged Assistant, mill a card and add one colorless. Letter of Acceptance, add one mana of any color. Worn Power Stone, it taps for 2 mana like a Soul Ring, but it costs 3 to play and it enters tap. So a lot slower, a little unfortunate, but it's the next best thing to a Soul Ring. Stormkiln Artist. This guy, whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, you get to create a treasure token. So again, we're in Izzet. We're going to be casting a lot of instants and sorceries. Getting that treasure back is some nice return on investment there. Mocking Sprite, 3 mana. It also reduced the cost of instant and sorcery spells by 1. And last but not least, we have Ruby Medallion, 2 mana. It makes your red spells 1 less to cast. So this is our way of helping to speed up the game. We want to be as quick and aggro as possible, get our Planeswalker out, get his loyalty counters up, and be able to activate that ability. Speaking of getting his loyalty counters up, we have a couple different ways to help speed that process up. First, we have Vivi Surgeons. I don't know if I pronounced that right, but somebody's Insight. And that allows you to draw 3 cards and proliferate. Great. Help get your Planeswalker up to 6 a little bit faster. Tezzet's Gambit. You can pay this for 3 and 2 life or 4. Draw 2 cards and proliferate, so similar to the other one. Thrumming Bird, 2 mana. It's a flyer, and every time it deals combat damage to a player, proliferate. If you can get this out quickly enough, you can swing on a player who doesn't have any flying and help make your Planeswalker larger. Deep Glow Skate. This one is huge. This is big. 5 mana. When it enters battlefield, double the number of each kind of counter on any number of target permanents. So when that comes out, you can double your Dack, and that would put him at the amount of loyalty counters you need right there. So that can be really strong. Ickermoon Gauntlet for 3 mana. It has Planeswalkers you control have 0, proliferate, and -12. Take an extra turn after this one. Whenever you cast a non-creature spell, choose a counter on target permanent, put an additional counter of that kind on that permanent. So you can use this to put on Dack, and then with all those instants and sorceries you're casting, it's going to cause him to go up in loyalty counters quite a bit faster. And at the end of the day, you could also hit that -12 and take an extra turn. So a lot of different ways you can go with that. And last but not least, we have the Chain Veil, probably one of the most expensive cards in this deck. But it basically, for 4 mana, you can tap it and you can activate an ability again. So you can either draw more cards, you can take an artifact, but most importantly, we're using that to try to get to that 6 as quickly as possible, get it activated, and get that emblem. From there, I would be remiss if I did not include some counterspells. This is a blue deck. Every blue deck needs counterspells. I don't know if that's true, but that's my personal opinion. So we have 2. OG, counterspell, gotta love it. And probably my favorite counterspell of all time, an Offer You Can't Refuse for 1 blue. Great. I'm not that toxic. Only 2 counterspells, okay? Calm down. From there, we have a couple nice pieces that can help with all the instants and sorceries that we're casting. We have Living Lightning for 4 mana. When it dies, return target instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to your hand, so be able to run back some of those nice pieces that you have. A Gutter Snipe, this is great in any Spell Slinger deck, but again, especially with this one, and in a format like Oathbreaker, where your opponents only have 20 health. Every time you cast an instant or sorcery, it deals 2 damage to each opponent, so you can ping them out pretty quickly. And then last, we have for 3 mana, it's a flying little Drake, and it's star 4. Its power is equal to the number of instant sorcery cards in your graveyard. We're going to get quite a few in there, so that'll be a pretty large creature in no time. Now, To get the most value out of this, we have a couple different ways of doubling our spells. First, we have Mirari for 5 mana. Whenever you play an instant or sorcery, you may pay 3. If you do, copy that spell and you can choose new targets. A better value we have for blue and red. When you next cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for it. Increasing Vengeance, 2 red, basically does the same thing. Copy target instant or sorcery spell you control, and then it has flashback. And when you flash it back, if it was cast from a graveyard, copy that spell twice instead. So that can be super strong, especially with the flashback. And then Twin Inferno, again, similar deal, 2 mana. You can, when you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. And last, we have target creature you control, or you can choose to give a target creature double strike until end of turn. Now, that does have the flexibility in the fact that it is targeting a creature with a spell, which is what Dack is looking for. So you could give an opponent's creature double strike, and now suddenly you have that creature. So I love the flexibility that Twin Inferno gives you to either copy a spell or just steal a creature outright for 2 mana. What's not to love? Last, we have Thousand Year Storm. I will say it costs 6 mana. So in a game like this, with how quickly we're playing it, I don't know how often you're actually going to play this spell for 6 mana, but if things get slowed down a little bit, incredible value that you get with this, because it says whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, copy it for each other instant sorcery spell you've cast before it. This turn you may choose new targets. It's almost giving your spells storm, kind of pseudo storm, and making them quite a bit more powerful as time goes on. Now, the final part of this deck is all of the cards to, once we have our emblem, poke our opponents just a little bit to take their stuff. For 1 mana, Fleeting Distraction, you get target creature gets -1/-0 until end of turn, draw a card. So you're getting free card draw and you're stealing a creature. Incredible. 2 mana, Sudden Breakthrough. Target creature gets +2/+0 and gains first strike until end of turn. Create a treasure token. So again, I love getting this extra value as well as stealing an opponent's stuff. If you have like your Ruby Medallion out, that's 1 red to get a treasure token and an opponent's thing. Take the Fall. 1 mana. Target creature gets -1/-0 until end of turn, and you get to draw a card. Majestic Metamorphosis, 3 mana. So this one is a little bit more, but it says until end of turn, target artifact or creature becomes a 4/4 angel artifact. Draw a card. The reason why I put this in here is you're getting the card draw, you're getting to steal a creature, but you could use it to take an artifact instead. Granted, Dack can do that as well too with his minus ability, but this is just another way to be able to have that flexibility to not just be stealing creatures. Stolen Identity, 6 mana. Create a token that's a copy of target artifact or creature. Again, having that flexibility to choose either artifact or creature. But on top of that, we are now stealing it and getting a copy of it. So for 6 mana, that's great value. Not to mention it has Cipher, so we can then put that on one of those creatures we've stolen, smack an opponent with in the face with it, and steal even more of their stuff. Incredible value that's going to net us right there. Electrolyze for 3 mana, 1 blue red. It deals 2 damage, divide as you choose among 1 or 2 targets, and draw a card. So again, we're getting that card draw, which is great to keep this cycle rolling. And you can split it up, so you're getting to steal 2 creatures for 3 mana. That's insane value. I mean, most of the take possession cards in red, you're looking at 4 to 5 mana to temporarily steal it, like a Zealous Conscripts, or in blue, it's normally 5 or 6 mana to gain control of it. So getting 2 creatures for 3 mana, absurd. Playful Shove for 2 mana. You can deal 1 damage to any target and draw a card. A lot of these really have a similar theme here. And then for 2 mana, blue-red, Slick Sequence, deals 2 damage to any target. If you cast another spell this turn, draw a card. just like all the rest. And then the final one we have, this is, I think, one of the strongest ones because of the fact that we can keep using this over and over again. Wingspan Stride. 1 mana to enchant creature. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has flying. And again, Jace just says you get an emblem with whenever you cast a spell that targets one or more permanents. So it doesn't have to be an instant or sorcery. This enchantment, it's targeting a creature, and once you do, you're gaining control of it, but it also has pay 3, return this aura to its owner's hand. So you can gain control of the creature, pay the 3, bring it back to your hand, and then cast it over again and keep stealing stuff over and over and over again. So again, this deck is very fast paced. I love the fact that everything you're using to steal your opponent's stuff is also replacing the cards in hand. So you're getting nonstop value there. Dack himself is going to help you churn through cards with his +1 ability, and you will be able to ping, even with like your shock, circling back to that, you can use that to target an opponent's Oathbreaker. So there's so many different ways you can go with this. Your opponents are not going to enjoy having all of their stuff taken over and over again. They're going to try to be building up a board state. They got nothing. You got all of their stuff, and they're left crying in the back room. But that being said, let me know what you think. What is your favorite Oathbreaker deck? Have you built an Oathbreaker deck before? Go ahead and drop that in the comments. Again, like I said, I'm very new to this, so if you would tweak it or if you know things that I should be putting in my Oathbreaker decks instead, let your boy know. I'm trying to get better at this format. If you do enjoy this type of content, though, if you like other videos besides just Commander builds, let me know that too. Go ahead and like, subscribe, ring the bell notification. Every Friday, we are dropping brand new videos just like this and plenty more. There's going to be another video on screen right now. Make sure you check that out, and I'll see y'all next time.